Hey guys, it's Sherry at the Rustic South. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I hope you like the craft that we're going to do. I am duping a wooden cross that I saw on Decor Steels, and we're going to use cardboard. I think the cardboard mimics the ribbing look of the wood on their tray. So grab yourself some coffee, hot chocolate, depending where you are, how cold it is. Together. So I measured it, or at least on their website, it measures, I think it was 12, excuse me, 12 inches wide by 16 long, just like I have on the screen there. And the cardboard slats that I use are excuse me, 1.5 inches deep or wide, however you want to say it. So I cut two pieces, of course, one 16 inches, one 12 inches. There it says 16 and 12. And now I'm trying to form it, and I'm deciding exactly how I'm going to put this in the middle, how I'm going to intersect them, if you will. So I find the middle of the 12-inch one that's going to go across and decide that I was going to stack it, but then I decide to cut it in half. So now you have 6 inches on each side. And I also decided after all that the 16 was too long, so I cut it down to 14. And then I decided to cut off an inch off the intersecting part of it. So I guess it actually goes to 14 inches long by, it still will be 12 inches wide. I believe I show you here in a minute with the ruler. It's still 12 inches wide because of the part in the middle where they intersect is still there. So if you didn't cut off that inch, then of course it would be 13 inches wide. So now that we have the cross made, we're going to now take some more of those cardboard slats and create the sides for this tray. So yeah, do all your sides first and wait and do the ends of each section at the very end. Like here I'm showing you this piece. So wait and do those end caps at the very end of each section. Because that way you can cover both ends with the end piece and not have to try to squeeze it in between or... This section here actually goes pretty quickly. Again, glue all your end caps on after each section has the sides complete. And you can always use, if you want, paint stir sticks or jumbo craft sticks to make this craft if you want. They're of course, much easier to, craft sticks are much easier to manipulate with scissors, where with paint stir sticks you will need a saw if you are comfortable with using a saw. If not, by all means, have somebody cut them for you. I'm sorry, I keep sticking my head in the camera. You know, and also, if you would like to make this a little wider, you could always put 2 sticks on the bottom. If you want to make it wider for like candles, or in the fall, maybe pumpkins or something. And you can also either hang it or set it on a table. It does not have to be sat on a table. I think I'm going to hang mine. But one thing I did do that was differently was I put spackle on the top. When we go putting the top banding on, I did use spackle to make some more character to the top, add some more character to the top. Now, so be sure and put those end pieces on at the very end of each section. Okay, so here now we're working on doing the edging. Now, one suggestion I would make here, if you're not good with angles, I would suggest you cut these edge pieces, banding pieces for the top of the cross with straight cuts instead of the angle cuts. Because the angle cuts took probably an extra 15 minutes to do this craft. And, you know, if you're good with the angles, then I would say go for it. And it looked really nice in the picture from Decor Steels. But after, at the end, after I added spackle to it anyway, you couldn't even tell that I had made angled cuts on the corner. So it was kind of an afterthought, right? Putting the spackle on was. And I was thinking that it would add a little bit more of a concrete look, or a little bit more of just more texture on the top. And after I painted it, it looked kind of like concrete, which I really liked the texture of it. So I was happy with that. So if I were you, I would make them straight cuts and not worry about doing the angles if you're going to make the craft, especially if you're going to use stir sticks or something else. I guess kind of too, I did use this spackling to kind of help fill in any of the gaps that I had because of the angles. That was another reason that led me to make that decision as well. Yeah, so here's the corner that I may have mentioned earlier that I had a little gap. So what I ended up doing was I ended up taking a little sliver of cardboard, which again is why I like cardboard, because it's forgiving. It's very friendly. It's very user friendly. So I fill that little gap in with a little sliver of cardboard. And you can't even tell. I'm sorry it's off camera here. And of course, I'm doing the same thing on this side as I did on the other side. And then once we get all of the top, see there's that little sliver I'm squeezing in there ever so slightly. Of course, once you get hot glue on it, something like that, oh boy, watch out. It's no longer really your friend when you're playing with the hot glue on it. So again, so when we get done here, we're going to have all the sides glued on. And then I take the spackle that you can get from Dollar Tree, which I will show you in a minute, but I'm sure you guys have seen it numerous times. And I mainly, when I first started, I was taking it to use it to fill in the sides of the cross, all around the edge. All around the edge, to fill in the little gaps. There it is. Fill in all the little gaps around the edge. But then I decided to put it all over the top. I put it all around the sides and the top of the cross. And if you can see where the white part is, see, I took it outside and I actually spray painted the bottom of it black. I spray painted the top of it brown. And on the screen, if you see, it says spray paint front, which is the top, warm caramel, and I spray painted the back of the cross a matte black. I sanded it slightly if needed. Soft brush with burnt umber, which is what you see me doing on the screen right now. So I'm going around and covering up some of that light brown, because that light brown is not really my color either. I like it darker typically. So this is where you guys could do white, dry brush white on. Here's the Waverly chalk paint in the steel color. This is where you could use white if you wanted to use white to go more along with the one from... See, I started out with that brush and I'm like, why am I using this brush? This brush is too small. I need something much wider for a dry brush method. So I put that brush down and get out the chip brush, that you can get, again, at any of the box stores. And dipping it in the Waverly steel. And when you put it on top of the burnt umber, it does look like, of course at first when it's still kind of wet, looks white. But it adds more of that concrete look to it because of the grayness of it. And then it brings out the details. See the details, how you can see the ribbing from the cardboard kind of resembles the ribbing or the saw marks on the wooden piece from the inspiration. That's what I like about it too. I will give you some close-ups here of the edges so that you can see what the spackle actually did to the top. It turned out really pretty. I like it. I actually probably should have added a little more of the gray to make it look ever so much, that much more like concrete, but I did not. That was a quick look at the back. It's spray painted black. So what I do next is I take it outside and there's some close-ups of it. You can see that you can see the spackle on it, and then I took it outside and sanded it. And because of the sanding and because of the spackle, it's giving you some texture. There's some texture, real good texture on that top part. And there's the back that I painted black. And I decided to kind of put a little gray on the back. I don't even know why I bothered. I wouldn't even turn it over and worry about it, especially if you're going to hang it on the wall. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention too, when you guys are dry brushing on the front or on anything, try to keep your brush going in the same angle over the entire piece. If you notice, I did not do that on the back. That was silly of me. On the one side here, I stroked the dry brush downward instead of across it. And I'm glad it's on the back. If you can see, it goes in the wrong direction. Oops. But at least it's mine. It's fine, it's on the back. So of course you have to take off most of your paint, nearly all of it. I mean, you really don't want too much on there. I didn't put any spackle on the back though. I only put the spackle on the front and along the edges of the cross to fill in the corrugation from the cardboard. That's what I was kind of doing, just kind of help it disguise that it's cardboard, right? And it does pretty well. Although I don't mind it looking like cardboard on the edge, but it is easier to paint if you fill in the corrugation. Okay, so we are nearing the end here. And I am almost done futzing around with this. I hope you guys will try this, put your own spin on it. It'll be really nice. If you do make it, would you leave me a comment and show me what yours looks like? There's the finished product. There's a close-up of the texturing from the spackling. It really is a neat texturing on it from the spackle. It's awesome. So there it is. And then I think the next picture you're going to see, I fill in the middle with some Spanish moss. I hang some bells from it that I had rusted, and I added a candle. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please like and subscribe.